Coming up on this week's show.
An uphill struggle for Europe's ski resorts.
Lift closures changed a lot of things. So people came here with the cross-country ski.
Gorgeous view.
The Italian village trying to stay on its hilltop. And the show that must go on in Dubai.
I have no safety, I have no harness. I cannot have mistakes.
Hello and welcome to the show, where it's pretty safe to say 11 months on from the start of the pandemic, travel to and from the UK has pretty much ground to a halt. And if you're like me and you just can't wait for the opportunity to get back on the road again and see more of the world than your own front garden, then why not stick with us? We'll be updating you with how the travel industry is trying to cope with the pandemic, plus a bit of inspiration of things to see and do once those travel corridors are reinstalled and we can perhaps start exploring again.
But first, it's that time of the year when some of us start packing our ski suits and get ready to hit the slopes. But with an ongoing global pandemic and travel restrictions all across the world, travelling to the mountains is an uphill struggle. In the UK, all the ski resorts in Scotland have closed their ski lifts until the current lockdown is lifted. Elsewhere in Europe, many ski stations have simply shut down for the season or remain open only for the locals. Chamonix is one of the oldest and most famous ski resorts in the French Alps, where this year there's a lot of snow but very few tourists.
This is the Aiguille du Midi lift station. It's the highest lift in Western Europe. Normally this platform area would be absolutely buzzing with people waiting to take the lift, with alpinists, with ropes, with people with their skis, or with every nationality you can imagine. They would all be here waiting to take the lift. This is an extremely lively place in normal times.
Since October, like other ski lifts all over France, this cable car has remained closed by government order, in an effort to stop the spread of COVID-19.
Perhaps the danger is not so much in the outdoor activity of skiing, which is considered pretty safe, but it's more the gathering of groups of people, and when you have ski, you inevitably have après-ski, and that's something that the government wants to avoid. I live and work in Chamonix. I've been here for 35 years now. The situation now with very few tourists is extremely strange. It's one that I've never experienced. Yes, it's a very sad situation for all the people who depend on tourism for their livelihoods.
Like other European countries, France has decided to shut its restaurants and bars, and a curfew, now moved to 6 p.m, means all après-ski activities are curtailed. That's a major blow for the people working here in the valley.
On a environ 70% de clientèle en moins. Du coup, nous, on s'est adapté en faisant de l'emporter, donc au moins pour un peu d'activité dans la rue de Chamonix. C'est super important de garder l'espoir, sinon on jette déjà les clés, mais pour le moment, on est là jusqu'à temps que ça réouvre, quoi.
There's no talk of reopening yet, though. The government has confirmed that ski lifts will remain shut in February.
I'm sure the season is dead. I'm sure about that. Compared to December last year, our turnover is down by 62%, which is enormous. And because of this, I've been employing only 4 seasoners instead of 21 normally. At the moment, our clients are the locals, And we have also people coming from Switzerland, a few of them, but there is no more foreigners in Chamonix. And this is how we live normally, with the foreigners. And for the moment, we don't have any.
Although we found one group of foreigners who seem to enjoy their time here.
We're from Australia, but we live in Lyon. We don't get much snow in Australia, so this is my first time seeing snow, so it's pretty beautiful, and it's a shame we can't go up on the mountain and ski, but we're making the most of it with our snowman and everything. So we'll have to come back next year, hopefully, when things are a little bit more normal.
Yeah.
For others, the closure of ski lifts has been a way of rediscovering other things to do in the snow, like sledging.
De base, quand c'est ouvert, il y a des voitures de partout, des gens de partout. Là, au moins, on est à l'air, il n'y a pas forcément grand monde, mais bon, c'est toujours aussi agréable, quoi. Il y a toujours quelque chose à faire dans tous les cas en extérieur, donc c'est le plus important, quoi. Puis on se retrouve entre potes, donc en vrai, il n'y a rien de mieux.
Because the alpine skiing is not possible, we have had customers they've been asking for new things, and the new thing is touring skis. So this is a touring skis with proper bindings. You've got pins on the front, so it helps the boots to go like this when you're climbing. And then you put the skins on the skis like this. And like this, it's going to help you to climb the mountains.
Ski touring, snowshoeing, cross-country. Normally the people that would have skied are doing those activities instead. And also just there have been so many people in the mountains making sledging tracks and building snowmen, which when people are skiing they don't necessarily have time for those activities. So it is a little bit more of a back to nature and resourcing and just enjoying the peace and quiet of the mountains as well.
My name is Danielle. I've been a ski instructor in Chamonix for 20 years now. So the lift closures changed a lot of things in the valley, you can imagine, because Chamonix Valley is very, very famous for downhill ski. So people came in the holidays for the last Christmas holidays here in Chamonix, and the change of ski, they came here with the cross-country ski. It was incredible. We had so many people here on the loop, many skiers. We've never seen that in Chamonix. Never, I've never seen that. And we had so many people trying to have some lessons. We were not enough ski instructors in the valley. That was incredible.
J'étais essentiellement du ski alpin et beaucoup de ski de randonnée. Ces jours, on est un peu limité, donc on travaille le ski de fond de manière plus assidue.
Some people will come back to cross-country ski next year too, because they enjoyed. You see where we are, look at the snow on the trees. It's much more quiet than downhill ski. You got always the noise of the lifts, of the chairlifts. It's very noisy. Here it's quiet. It's a totally different atmosphere. So I think they enjoyed it a lot.
Well, stay with us, because still to come on the show,
we've got the Italian village clinging to its hilltop.
Dobbiamo per forza programmare il futuro per salvare i cibi.
You have to be like very, very focused and concentrate what you're gonna do.
And we find out how the show can go on in Dubai.
welcome back to London, a city in lockdown where we're now getting used to seeing virtually deserted streets. Well, imagine living in a place that's customised to being empty thanks to a constantly falling population. Well, last year, before the current travel restrictions were in place, I went to Italy, to a hilltop village that's in exactly that situation.
Civita. Today, they call it the dying town. but it was once home to more than 3,000 people. Now they reckon there are just 7 permanent residents here. And they are heavily outnumbered by tourists, up to 10,000 a day. As you approach the town, you can see just why.
Gorgeous view. This bridge, by the way, is the only way up to the village and back, for that matter. You can only walk, you can't drive. It's about 300 metres, it gets pretty steep. It's a pretty stunning entrance as well, isn't it?
Civita dates back more than 1,000 years. But over the centuries, its population has dwindled, and not just for economic reasons. Because this town is actually physically collapsing itself. In fact, it was once 3 or 4 times the size it is now.
Wow, so Luca, this is a really steep drop in the rock face. What caused this?
Allora, stai vedendo tipica erosione delle rocce tufacee di Civita. Tutto questo processo inizia dal fondo della valle, dove ci sono le argille marine di un antico mare, che sono erose da 20.000 anni. Vanno via con dei movimenti tipo mud flow, flussi di fango. Nella parte alta queste rocce, che sono tra l'altro tecnicamente chiamate rocce soffici, soft rock, crollano con il classico falling rock a seguito delle frane del basso.
And this is a problem that's continuing today. Even up till today, it's still a problem, still a big danger that this will collapse even more.
Certo, questo processo di cui ti ho parlato è continuo, continua ancora oggi, tra l'altro accelerato dai cambiamenti climatici, e questo processo che è continuo si accelera ogni volta che c'è un terremoto che scuote questa città, e quindi siamo di fronte, ecco, all'ultimo atto di questa storia, e dobbiamo per forza programmare il futuro per salvare Civita.
Ironically, although there are hardly any local amenities, no supermarkets, no post office, no police station, some businesses are booming because of increasing visitor numbers. Like La Cantina di Ariana, a restaurant owned by one of Civita's few remaining residents. She grew up here as a child and watched the town change around her.
Civita è un gioiello per me, e poi per me forse ancora di più, però penso che per tutti, perché chi viene qui il giorno, io sento tante persone che dicono proprio, rimangono tanto entusiaste perché è proprio carino, un paese un po' unico al mondo.
Rosanna, tell me, what was it like here when you were growing up as a child?
Siamo cresciuti così in semplicità, eravamo tanti, allora eravamo tanti bambini, ragazzi, insomma, e allora si giocava tutti insieme, si stava sempre, vivevamo in semplicità, però contenti, ci accontentavamo di poco, si faceva le feste in piazza, si giocava in piazza.
Was it sad for you to see so many of your friends leave and just you left behind?
Quando hanno cominciato a partire qualche amica mia, amici, insomma, sì, è un po' dispiaciuto. E tante volte mi veniva anche qualche pensiero, cioè magari se potessi andare via anche io. Però solo un pensiero, perché io sono stata sempre tanto attaccata qui e quindi ho scelto questa vita, insomma. E il cambiamento, certo, c'è stato, perché prima eravamo tranquilli così, tutti tra noi, e quando sono cominciati a venire questi turisti, piano piano, certo un pochino cambiato, però le dobbiamo pure ringraziare. Perché se non fossero venuti questi turisti non so se Civita ancora reggeva.
Indeed, now in Civita, some young locals are seeing opportunities to stay.
Questo è buonissimo.
Like Daniela and her brother, who set up a business here. In the olive fields overlooked by Civita, where she played as a child, Daniela got the inspiration to create cosmetics that evoke the unique landscape.
La mia famiglia è strettamente legata al territorio, molto connessa. Parliamo appunto di generazioni, di generazioni che hanno vissuto qui appunto. volevamo creare un legame tra prodotti realizzati da noi e la nostra terra. Civita per noi rappresenta un'opportunità, noi intesi come noi giovani. Civita ci permette di radicarci, di rimanere sul territorio.
The basic fact is, for Civita as a whole to survive, it will need money. To cross the bridge, you now have to pay €5. And it's in the running to become a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which would bring with it funding to help secure its future. Luca, the geologist, had one more thing to show me. He reckons that through monitoring, long-term planning, and by reinforcing the base of the valley, Civita can be saved, for the benefit of all. In the meantime, innovations are helping to secure this precious town.
È uno dei migliaia di tiranti che servono a mantenere la terrazza dove siamo stati ferma.
Hand on heart, Luca, do you really think that Civita can be saved?
Certo che lo credo, perché anch'io, diciamo, il mio cuore mi dice così, perché ho anch'io dedicato il cuore a questa città e bisogna farla, sono sicuro, con tutte le persone che al mondo amano Civita in questo periodo storico si farà.
Fingers crossed.
Grazie.
Now, back here in London, the capital's world-famous Theatreland has taken a huge hit during the pandemic, with virtually all forms of live entertainment being forced to shut down. Entertainment is a huge draw for tourist destinations, and a few years ago,
I visited Dubai to meet the cast of a new theatrical extravaganza called La Pearl.
we are talking 65 world-class artists, athletes and performers. We're talking motorcycles circling round in a bowl in mid-air. And best of all, in the middle of a desert, we can even get rain. Like venues all over the world, they too were forced to shut down when the pandemic hit. But now they're up and running again.
And last month, Lucy got a behind-the-scenes look at how they've managed to reopen.
It's about 5 o'clock, so there's 2 hours to go until showtime, and I've been lucky enough to get a sneak preview of the technical rehearsal. Now, these guys do it every night. It looks incredible. I genuinely cannot wait for showtime. Bring it on.
La Pearl is a mixture of jaw-dropping acrobatics, visual effects, music and dance, performed here nightly in this specially built theatre inside a hotel complex in the heart of Dubai, bringing a touch of Las Vegas spectacle to an audience that, in normal times, is usually made up of tourists from around the world. Carlos is one of the highlights of the nightly show, performing amazing, daring feats of agility on his giant rotating wheels, where one false move could spell potential disaster.
So Carlos, I've been watching you in equal measures of dread and awe on the Wheel of Life, or Wheel of Death as it was formerly known. How do you do that?
You have to be physically strong, especially this wheel is heavy. Then mentality strong, and you have to be like very, very focused and concentrate what you're gonna do. I have no safety, I have no harness. I cannot have mistakes.
The show closed down on March 15th last year as a lockdown was announced in Dubai and international tourism here ground to a halt. But 4 months later, the decision was made to try and reopen the show. The performers and crew still in Dubai agreed to form bubbles, a strict COVID-safe reduced audience seating plan was introduced, and once the local authorities were happy, tickets went on sale again.
When we came back to the theater in August 1st, we came 3 weeks in advance to perform, to practice, to get back in shape, that show, like bring back the show together, because this show requires a lot of training. So they say, we're gonna open, but depend on you guys if we're gonna keep open the theater. So you have to take measure. I sacrifice myself, but at the same point, and at the same time, I'm grateful, you know, because I am allowed to, despite all this problem, I still can perform what I like.
Live theatrical entertainment around the world has been decimated by the pandemic. And here at Le Pearl, they've practically reinvented their show so that performers, crew and audience members can stay as safe as possible. But that's pretty much meant rebuilding the whole production from the ground up.
What about the choreography? How have you had to kind of redesign that in order to ensure there's enough distance between the performers and the audience?
Well, originally we had a lot of changes because obviously we've normally got people flying all over the audience, coming very much audience interaction. We even have artists coming onto stage from in the audience.
Yeah.
So a lot of that was literally going through the whole show day one and just going, right, can't do that, can't do that, can't do that, can't do that. So let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. So we're just running a lot of contingencies right now that one day, hopefully, we will be able to bring those segments of the show back in. But for now, still give the audience the same feeling without coming in less than 4 meters into contact with them,
So the audience is beginning to filter in, the seats have been sanitised, I can see people over in their bubbles or safely socially distancing. If I'm being honest, it feels a little bit weird being here after 10 months of zero live entertainment, but I think it's amazing that we're able to see a show and I can't wait.
With all the restrictions in place and fewer performers on stage, Rob describes the new show as a more intimate experience. And reduced audience capacity, of course, means less revenue from ticket sales. But whilst international tourism won't return to pre-COVID levels for some time, local audiences here in Dubai have remained loyal, with many of them coming to see the show for the very first time.
I play a little bit more with the audience because I feel like they're really shy, afraid sometimes, because especially not many shows in the world are open. The show must go on. We're gonna survive.
Well, that's it for this week. Coming up next time...
Grab your coat. We're revisiting some of our favourite snowbound adventures. From Addy's stay at Sweden's iconic ice hotel...
What temperature is it in this place?
-5.
-5.
Yeah.
To entering an endangered glacier...
It is
you can touch
beautiful. Wish me luck.
And Krista's headfirst ride down a bobsleigh run.
And in the meantime, don't forget, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Here's to the time we can get back on the road and travel again. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.